Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
This episode is powered by Poddex.
Thank you for tuning in today. You are now listening to That Will Never Work podcast with your host, Maurice Chisholm. Welcome to a new season, y'all. We are on season number 2. Y'all. Yo, I really thank y'all for y'all support, y'all love, your comments. You know, we are really moving along. So I really thank y'all for what's going on. So listen, y'all, as you well know, if you follow me on social media, more especially Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, at Chisholm Group, CHISM GROUP, you know that we are putting on, or we are presenting, an Entrepreneur Impact Summit. And it will premiere on our mobile apps on Roku and Fire TV. It will be the Entrepreneur Impact Network, and you can register now on Eventbrite, and you will be able to see that also on Eventbrite. You'll see Entrepreneur Impact Summit 2021, and that's presented by Chisholm Group LLC. All right, y'all. So here's our topic for today. We're going to talk about Golden Handcuffs. And you know, before I really get into what Golden Handcuffs are, I just would like to know if y'all know what they really are, number one. And so while I am leading up to that, you know, I would love for you to like, share, subscribe with this episode. You know, make sure you leave a comment on iTunes, or, you know, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcast. You know, make sure you do what you need to do. All right, y'all. So how many of you work a 9 to 5 and have yet to separate yourselves from your 9 to 5 for various reasons? And, you know, ultimately your dream is not just financial freedom, but maybe the freedom from a 9 to 5. And your dream is way bigger than your 9 to 5. You would love to start your own business, meaning let's say you're a graphic designer. Hey, you love clothes. You know, you like to do hair, whatever it might be, some type of entrepreneurship, small business venture you would love to do, and do that at full time. That's all you think about? That's all you dream about? Well, some of the things that hold us back, you know, as we look at our family, our situations, our, you know, what we hold dear to ourselves, you know, it could be even food, you know, our lifestyles, meaning our house and our cars and our clothing. And then there's another part that comes into play. And in that part comes this phrase called golden handcuffs. Now, golden handcuffs are financial incentives that are given to employees to discourage them from leaving a company. So when you think about what that means to you, I know what it meant to me. So, you know, it took me a long time to really want to pursue my dreams of being an entrepreneur. I had thought about being an entrepreneur back in maybe 91, 92-ish. And unfortunately, you know, schools do not promote, they do not encourage, they don't even speak about entrepreneurship, let alone investments or anything like that. So when you graduate high school, and for me, my mom didn't necessarily support entrepreneurship. She just used it as a means of trying to supplement her regular income. My mom used to sell sweet potato pies and apple pies. She had even started her own greeting card company where she was designing the cards by hand using pastels and charcoal and things like that, designing them. She would just use those mediums. She wouldn't write anything inside of it. She would just design the outside and allow the individual to put whatever they wanted inside the card. She actually had it in a store at one time. And then, so she never really encouraged that. She just said, hey, you out of high school, you're either going to do one of three things. You're going to go to work, go to college, or go to the service. And really was none of the above. She really just pushed my brother and I into working a 9 to 5. There was no other encouragement. So as I was working, and it wasn't until I had friends in college and things like that, but looking at them being in college and for me to be working a 9 to 5 in a major health insurance company in the city of Philadelphia, which is where I'm from, why would I, at 18 years old, back in that time in the mid 90s, give up a job that was paying me, well, at that time it was I think it was $17,000 a year. So I'm 18 years old making $17,000 a year, and for me, for where I was coming from, that felt like a lot of money. It felt like a lot of money. So why in the world would I want to give that up? Then I had talked about moving on at that time. And in moving on, I was into computer repair. I was already repairing computers, filling them out, because I had wanted to be a mechanical engineer. So me working on computers, it just was a natural fit. So I had wanted to pursue something like that. And the next thing I know, my job, and ultimately my job was already a part-time or a full-time temp type position. So I was there anywhere between 4 to 5 days a week, working literally 9 to 5 every day. And in that working 9 to 5, I was getting, like I said, I was bringing in the type of money that I needed for me to live. And then by the hour, I was also living in at home with my mother. So I did not need a whole lot of money to like pay rent or anything like that. So my job had come up to be permanent, and I really wanted to keep my job. But at that particular time, a young lady had applied for the job also. She was a temp herself, but she was actually from a temp company. And they ended up giving to her, saying that she was, a little older, a little more mature, and she had, a family, things like that. And then, so what that did for me, it did not encourage me to go and go into entrepreneurship at that time. All it did was try to fuel my fire to find a bigger and better job just to prove somebody else wrong. So hold on for a second. I'm going to get into the Golden Handcuffs piece. So the longer, you move on, you go to other jobs, so forth and so on. And ultimately, the last job of corporate America that I held, I was at another insurance company, and this particular job was paying me the most money I had ever been paid. And the issue was I wasn't happy, but I was more inclined to stay because of the position. I had budgeted myself based off of my bonuses and things I was receiving. And at that time, that was, a great feeling for my wife and I for the amount of money that was coming in the house. We felt good. And even though it felt good, ultimately what forced me to leave was my health. I was putting way more stress on myself. But those golden handcuffs, those incentives, that was discouraging me to leave that particular position because I had budgeted my life, my situations, everything that we had going on, from our 2 cars, our house in the suburbs, our nice sized backyard, our kids, and they were just getting out of preschool and daycare and whatnot. So we didn't no longer had to pay that type of money. So those checks were looking pretty nice because we no longer had to pay that $400 a week, so when it had come down to wanting to move forward and pursue my dreams, there was a struggle, there was a tug of war, and within that tug of war, I was becoming more and more sick. I was becoming more and more stressed. And it was all because of stress, because I was not happy and I was forcing myself to do this particular job. So that's where the golden handcuffs come in. These financial incentives, because my bonuses were great. I can't tell you what my bonuses were like. Like, they were beautiful. And again, I'm twice a year. One near my birthday, one around Thanksgiving, and and in your mind, you're like, wow. My birthday is in April, so I can get one by my birthday. That was a nice little treat. I can get one around Christmas time. All right, everybody's, that Christmas tree was looking nice. So when you take a look at those incentives from the financial standpoint, are you really handcuffed to that job where you're unhappy, where it's making yourself sick every day, where you are probably missing your blessing overall, helping out someone else? You don't know. Sometimes you don't know what the blessing really is within that situation. So I encourage you to evaluate where you are, evaluate who you are, evaluate what your dreams are, and what is the real incentive for you to move on to something else that's greater in your life, something that's going to give you more meaning in your life, or what you feel like might give you more meaning in your life. I want you to be encouraged today that when it comes down to it, you are worth it to invest in yourself. I have a coach. Her name is Maxine Johnson. She talks to me all the time about people investing in themselves. I think sometimes we don't invest in ourselves because we're nervous, we're scared, we're afraid. No one else is encouraging us. We don't have the team around us, or the appearance of a team around us that we think is going to support us moving forward. And I would say you'd be quite surprised that, of the team that you'll have. But ultimately, I think you'll be more surprised of those that you thought would not support you will probably be your biggest supporters, your biggest cheerleaders. And you would never have known until you jump down into the deep. It's just like going swimming. Until you jump into the water, you don't know if you're going to sink or swim. You have a choice. You're going to sink or swim. So I want you to evaluate where you are. I'm not suggesting for you to just go and hit head first, because for some people that does not make sense. And for some, it only makes sense because you really have that drive. When you look at, do you really have the drive, the know-how, you're already getting paid for your services, or you already have what the business mind. You already have the consulting mindset. You're encouraging people and things like that. The only thing you haven't done is ask someone to pay you for it. Sometimes it's just that simple. So, I just want you to be encouraged today. I want you to be, to understand that, hey, these golden handcuffs, they're not as bright and shiny as they may appear. Understand that there is, probably a pot of gold over that rainbow somewhere. So be encouraged today, and be sure to, again, like, share, and subscribe this episode. Be sure to tune in to the Entrepreneur Impact Summit on the Entrepreneur Impact Network on Roku and Amazon Fire TV, and you'll be able to see the videos also on Vimeo. Ultimately, you'll be able to listen to the audio on this particular channel, That Will Never Work podcast. You will start to see advertising for that also. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Chisholm Group, and also follow Chisholm Group LLC on LinkedIn. Thank y'all very much. Hopefully, I have encouraged y'all. Talk to y'all later. We are here to educate, empower, enable, and impact our world. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Chisholm Group, CHISM Group. Thank you very much for listening.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.